one of the things that I love most about the book is you sometimes read articles and hear people talk, and they kind of paint two different versions of the future. One is a world where we live in augmented reality, and the other is one where we live in virtual, or at least we visit virtual reality. But your book, makes the argument that there's, we hear this buzzword convergence, and your work kind of brought it together for me that it's not one or the other. It's really all of the above, and it's all coming together.
Yeah.
So that was a
And
really
we don't
amazing.
know. I mean, that's the thing that's sort of funny is the fact that I feel like the people who know the most about these technologies are the most willing to admit that we don't know everything. Like
Yes.
that, if there's like this, I wish I remembered the term, but it was basically like the people who are just learning are maybe a little bit nervous about it. The people who are learning a little bit more, like, I know everything. Like, I know everything, and they tell you that they know everything. And then the people who actually do know the most are like, we're still figuring it out. And for some reason, to be out there and saying, like, I know a ton about emerging technology, but we're still figuring out, sometimes it's controversial that people like to know exactly. And I say in the book, like, we know the individual technologies, we know some of them where there's like a combination of two or three coming together, and that's okay. But when it's all of these emerging technologies that are all coming together, we don't know yet. I like to use the example of, there's a person who used to come to my marketing emerging tech class, and he came multiple times, and he worked on like the early Apple launches and like the Apple iPhone launches. And he's like, we didn't know that there would be an app store. And I'm like, think about how much at least the App Store and the Apple, like how that changes their lives. And when they launched it, they didn't know that. And then the people who launched, the people who launched the internet didn't realize there was going to be social media, like as an entire industry in and of itself. So there's a certain amount that we do know when it comes to different technologies, but there's still a certain amount that we have to figure out and how they fit together and the way they fit together. And that's sort of the exciting fun part. And I we were talking earlier that I was like, things are always changing and shifting. And right now, with AI, everything's shifting faster than anyone anticipated, even the people within emerging tech. So that makes all of us in the same boat of like, we don't know, but we're
Yeah.
figuring it out.
Yeah, that's one of the most amazing things about this concept of convergence is that it's not just the moving of everything that we know about into something that looks like what we've had in the past. That's just a bunch of mixes of the past, but it's actually the ability to create new and things that you don't foresee. That's really the true power of convergence.
Yeah, no, and I like looking a little bit in the past because we can learn from it. It's like that's the thing I think happens a lot of times is when you're talking about new and emerging technology. Yes, okay, augmented reality, virtual reality, future metaverse, whatever is going to change the way that we interact with the world in a different way. But you can still look at older technologies, you can still look at the adoption of older technologies and say, okay, how can I extrapolate what that means and where that will
Yes.
go? And I think that sort of, you forget, like, you can talk about just what happened before. Remember, I was in it, I was like, I need to research like what happened with the dark web. Like, how did it come to be? Like, what was it? What was going on? And how did, like, and just to go like, okay, could there be the equivalent? Like, what is the equivalent? And like, how could we, you know, prepare for it? Whatever, there's gonna be bad actors in all senses. And so that's where I don't like to sort of go in with like, it's going to be amazing or it's going to be terrible. I want to go in with like, what is it really going to be? And that you can learn from the past a little bit. You can go, okay, well, this, people like to do this kind of thing, and then if we added this technology on top of it, then this could happen for good, this could happen for bad. Now we can make a decision I mean, the problem is like there's a lot of technology that we can't say, oh, this in 5 years and 10 years, but there's some. And so you just have to go in with open eyes and look at it, just go in
Open
and go
eyes.
like, I'm gonna ride the wave. That's what I said to my students a lot. Like, to like, today we just gonna figure it out. And I think that if you're open to it, you can get into the industry, you can play with the technology, you can meet the people, and that's what I like to try to do. And the book is sort of an extension of that, but I do that in anytime I'll talk on a podcast, anytime I'll
Yeah.
speak at an event or whatever. I get sort of excited and I'm like, ooh, I'm going to teach this person a little something. They'll be able to go have that moment of like, wait a second, I think I get it now enough to
Mm.
ask you questions. And I'm like, yes, perfect.
Yeah.